Okay, it's Thursday, January 12th. This is an end of the day SPY recap, and today we end up with another two up green bar. Not that strong of a bar. It tried to kind of drop early, came up a little bit, didn't follow through all that much during the day, but it is kind of the, essentially like 5 days in a row to the upside since we were in the lower end of this range down here, and we're breaking out to the upside. The weekly chart is still green at the moment. We have one more day to go in the week, so now we could see if tomorrow really doesn't fall off a little bit, you're expecting that week to close green. If that happens, then you're expecting follow through higher the next week, and that could start leading to that target we talked about of these highs. So that's how you start playing the what if game, or projecting ahead, that if you can sense that this bar is going to close green tomorrow, if there's not much of a pullback, then you start anticipating green close. That usually means follow through into next week, and that could mean those targets up here. So you stay biased to the long side. In terms of how this day would fail tomorrow or the week would fail, you'd have to come below the midpoint of today, and then have a two down day. If you get a two down day, the low of this bar kind of lines up with the midpoint of this week right here. So if you get a two down day tomorrow, then this bar is probably going to be closing relatively weak, and then you'd almost anticipate that it might fail and then have a two down week into next week. So it's going to be important tomorrow to see if we just kind of hold or continue up, or do we get some kind of big failure with a two down day. That'll maybe set the tone not only for the day but for the week ahead. But anyway, in terms of today, while it was relatively tricky, it really wasn't, given that I talked about pre-market, how we're getting kind of exhaustion risk to the upside. We're gapping up for this second day in a row, and we had a lot of volatility in the pre-market session, and a number was released. The market went down, went up big, and by the time we were opening up, we were opening in the middle of this big pre-market range, the blue line. So the very first bar started down pretty strongly, and I actually used that as an opportunity to buy some Tesla puts, which ended up, I really thought I might have some big gains on it, but it ended up with a small gain on that stock. Then I kind of shot a video that once we reach these pre-market lows, this is and we started green a little bit on this two down, two up. This was kind of the moment of truth right in here. We were just going to have an orderly pullback to the midpoint of that first bar and then roll over to the downside. That would have alerted me that we're going to have a failure day today. We would have come to the midpoint of this bar and really followed through towards the lower, of yesterday's bar. But instead, what happened was the market had a big green bar, and I talked about that. If I saw a big green pop up here, at that point, I stay biased to the long side like I was really all pre-market. And as it turns out, you had a little bit of a pause. Then we broke the first bar high on this move, one little pullback, another attempt at the high, and then we kind of just went sideways the rest of the day. So the thing was, we never really got above the overnight pre-market highs. We never got below the pre-market lows. So it was really kind of a choppy day with an upward bias overall. And once you saw kind of this move head up, a big drop, another test of that, and then the red bar here, you kind of knew it was choppy a little bit. And that's where at the end of the day, I put on a little BABA put trade that really didn't follow through like I thought. I thought this could have been, at that point, you kind of knew the market wasn't really heading up strong towards those highs, and I thought maybe there might be a fall off at the end, but it didn't really happen. I took a small gain on that trade, and actually when the market kind of failed here going lower, I was able to take a small gain on Tesla. Again, it could have been a bigger gain, but that's fine. And then I actually looked at some stocks and bought Disney in this area because I sensed the market, the bias was the upside, and that kind of moved up. It didn't reach my target like some other stocks might have if I chose them, but again, it was a nice small gain on that. So overall, if you can look at my trades on the day, I got Tesla, I started there. Then, like I said, I went to Disney after I sensed the upward bias, and then I kind of traded BABA on the downside, which, was a small gain. BABA didn't really roll over as much as I would have liked. But anyway, so we come into tomorrow, just keying on whether we hold in here, or maybe if we continue higher, that'll be good for the weekly chart and the continuation, or do we get a pretty severe pullback, which might kind of ruin this weekly chart and project maybe lower into next week. But for now, the bias is still to the upside with that target in mind. Again, with all these up days in a row, there should be a little bit pausing in here, but if we pause and don't really fail too much, then the next buy signal is going to be a nice strong one, because I think the targets are still up here until proven otherwise.